Hey everyone, my name is Marissa. Welcome to my divination channel. I am so honored always to be holding this type of space for you guys and to work with you guys both collectively and privately has been such an honor because I know these types of spaces can give us the momentum, the confirmation, the validation that we need to move in the directions that deep down we know we need to go. And if you're new to my channel and you've never met me before, my purpose within this incarnation is to really help people get clear on why they're here by understanding the nature of the soul, by understanding the nature of the soul's journey, and by understanding each incarnation from the perspective of knowing the soul's blueprint and cracking the code that is our soul's blueprint and being able to feel into our unique soul's signature so that making decisions becomes really effortless because we're weighing it against our innermost truths and not necessarily what the rest of the world around us is doing or should say is the way to go. And this is the most fulfilling path in my most humble of opinions and my own experience and what I witness with the people that I work with and the people that have inspired me along my way, right? The most fulfilling path we can take is the one that is not as clear as most people would be comfortable with at the beginning, but then it becomes this beautiful free fall and trust fall and flow. And so tarot is one of those ways that has been very validating and confirming to many people in terms of making the decisions that they know they need to make and constantly meeting that growth edge, right? Constantly meeting that expansion and that friction of consistently growing into a greater version of self. So before we get into the readings and what we're diving into, I am so excited to announce the sponsor of today's video, Luisa Jewelry. Now, I've had so many companies reach out to me about partnering with me, and I've just been patiently waiting until I had brands that I was actually really excited to work with. And you guys, this is truly one of them. So I feel like it's so important in life that we're not only around people and organizations and just the way we conduct ourselves, like all should reflect a certain level of consciousness, right? But it should also be operating within a certain degree of integrity, right? And inclusive of that is that someone else's gains does not come at the expense of another person's loss or, the loss of the planet, right? And so what I really love about Ana Luisa is before I even looked at their jewelry, I went to see what they were about, and they have about a 36-page impact report all about their sustainability efforts and the steps they are taking to become increasingly more and more sustainable. They have a vision for their product, they have a vision for their people, the people that wear and purchase, and also the people that create, and they also have a vision for the planet. Ana Luisa acknowledges the very complex issue that is global warming. Just in 1 year between 2020 and 2021, they actually reduced their total emissions by almost 50%. I thought that was so insane because it just shows that they really are about what they say that they're about. They are partnered with organizations like Climate Neutral, Carbon Footprint, Water Footprint, Implementation, the Bonneville Environmental Foundation, and a few others. And I've just never seen anything like this for a brand, let alone a jewelry line. I am aware that everything carries an energetic footprint, And so when I'm purchasing gifts or anything for myself or anyone else, I expect high quality and consciously created, consciousness infused pieces, products, services, right? So not only are their ethics and vision on point, but their jewelry is seriously so cute. I'm wearing some of their pieces right now, and I just absolutely love what they've sent me. And if you're interested in learning more and purchasing the jewelry for yourself or a loved one, I have a special link, discount code at the top of my description box that you can use to receive 20% off your entire purchase. So thank you guys for sticking around this far. We have 5 aspects to each reading today. We're gonna get into at the beginning of each reading what those aspects are, but you have 3 piles to choose from today. As always, you can take your time. And if you need more time, you can pause the video, but we're gonna hop right into these readings. Hi, group number 1. I am so excited to offer you guys these Earth School readings today. This is all about your current assignment. This is a 5-aspect spread. We'll get into each aspect as we are progressing through the reading. You guys can stick around for the shuffling process, or you can go ahead and hit the description box button and just skip right on past this, okay? So we're just going to get into the shuffling. I've connected with the guides that are overseeing the group of souls that are drawn to this video today. And we're asking, what needs pile one's attention the most right now? The guides overseeing pile number one. What needs their attention the most right now, pile number one? What does pile number one, where is their attention taking them? What do they need to focus on in group number one, please? What does group number one need to focus on? Okay, anything else? Okay. All right, now we're asking, what is subconsciously influencing pile number one? Pile number one's subconscious influences, please. Okay, anything else? Okay, what is pile number one to learn from this current chapter, from this current assignment? What are they here to learn from this current assignment? Where can pile number one gain support with this assignment, if any? Where can they gain support? Else, where can they gain support? And lastly, what is a positive step forward on the destiny path of pile number one? What's a positive step they can take along their destiny path even further than they may be already at this point? Okay, let's get into this. So what needs pile number one's attention right now? What is calling their attention the most? We have serendipity, having more fun, being in the flow of things, trusting life to carry you, not being so serious. All right, these are all big blockages to just like receiving intuitive downloads, okay? Community, okay, so being around people that see things the same way as you do, or that are living the life that you want to begin living. Associating more with those types of people. Like, it is such a game changer, you guys. Like, when you're around people that are like doing the things that like are successful in the areas that you want to be successful in, even if it's something that like the types of businesses that you're bringing forth aren't similar, but it's just the pure raw fact of, I believe in this and I'm going to go for this and I'm going to make this happen. And it's such a game changer of like being around people that are already living that, or people that are also on the path, because you start to build momentum and you start to remind each other, this is what Soul Family is here for. You remind each other why you're here, right? And you provide these beautiful reflections and give this beautiful like feedback loop and momentum for one another. And lastly, we have by the book. Okay, so what needs your attention right now? There might be something that is like you are wanting to go, like a direction you're wanting to go, and you might be getting too caught up in how you think, like how it's worked for other people. And I feel like that might be your detriment, especially because we have serendipity coming up first, and it's all about just letting the wind take you where it will and knowing it's going to take you where you're meant to be and really allowing your intuition to carry you forward. So this is like be inspired by other people who are already successful in the fields that you want to be successful in, but also just because it worked for them doesn't mean it's going to work for you or it's even right for you. So making up your own rules as you go is really important. Okay, so what needs their attention right now for pile number one, please? Moon, yeah, it says, so not get so lost in needing the whole path to be made clear, using your intuition to move you along. That, you know, serendipity is a very intuitive kind of card. And not, you know, this is the realm of the right brain, which is not logical. It's not by the book. So this is really just reiterating this energy, you know, and reaching out to people. Like, it's so cool when you really admire people like on social media or something, and then you like just support them and leave them messages or like comment on their stuff. And then all of a sudden you guys are friends. Like this is happening with me. This person that I really like, man, his expression is so spot on TikTok. And it's someone that like has just really, and sometimes just like, leaves me awestruck at how articulate this individual is, strong Mercury like me. And like went from just like, admiring from afar to, talking on Instagram, leaving comments, then becoming friends on TikTok is what I meant. And then now he's signed up for like, I'm going to be leading him through a breath session on Friday. And in our email correspondence, he was like, yeah, I'm really guided at this time to, really establish my own self and, in this community and to be with other creatives, and that really does, again, it inspires this momentum. Okay. So maybe you're kind of doing that when you genuinely feel inspired to like acknowledge someone that you admire, like do it, like please do it. Or even if it's just like, you see someone out there doing their own thing, like just get in the vibe of just being serendipitous and getting in the vibe of just like life is magical because it is. And, calling it out when you do see something is really beautiful. And before you know it, you're, developing this incredible community that really is self-sustained. It really supports itself and everyone's in it together. So there's a lot of expansion. What needs your attention is like this desire to expand and actually moving in the direction of that expansion, actually moving in the direction that your intuition is guiding you in to heed those messages that you've been getting. Okay. So next we're going to move into what is subconsciously influencing you. We have emotional loss. This did want to come up in a reverse position. So emotional loss. What else? Subconscious influences. We have emotional loss. We have light. We have foundation and achievements. We have wisdom, and we have balance. Okay, this is a really positive. I mean, and this is so common to see in life, right? Emotional loss. So subconscious influences are, I feel like you expect to win. You know that you have a big destiny. You know that you have a lot of wisdom to share with other people. You know that you're meant to achieve great things. You know that you're meant to like be in this type of energy. And it's just going to keep getting bigger. It's just going to keep building. Like I've been in this timeline energy for a while and it started off very like tiny, like the community was small and it just continues to grow and expand, And so I feel like, what's subconsciously influencing you is just this desire to not let your past like losses and grievances get the best of you. Okay. And, there's a little bit of an influence that is like, can I really do this? Not wanting to be let down, fear of failure, fear of like, embarrassment. But mostly I'm seeing that the desire to win and to achieve and to have prosperity and abundance is much louder. Okay. And so that's what's actually continuing to like help push you on. You've done a lot of balancing, a lot of clearing in this life and other lifetimes to really tip the scales to where, of course, taking a human body, a human birth, we're going to be affected by generational karma, familial karma, personal karma to different degrees, collective karma, but I feel like to a good degree, like you have good juju on your side. Okay. Wow. I'm just noticing that the people in this picture is like, I think it are these people. That's what I'm seeing them as. So yeah, community, being a teacher in some sort of way, maybe even, that you're here to be a leader and to like help other people in the same areas in life that you are working to heal. So yeah, I feel like you just recognize and acknowledge that you are here to, affect people down to a level that really matters. Maybe it's working with families or somehow the work that you're doing is helping, benefit families. So if you're like in therapy, for example, you're a therapist or you're like a breathwork coach or, whatever you're doing that helps breathe light into people's lives is going to affect their lives and the people they meet with regularly on a very visceral and tangible level. And so, yeah, I feel like you're really changing lives on, or that's what you feel like you're here to do on a level that really matters. Okay. But, yeah, I feel like for the most part, this is pretty, there's not a lot of heavy subconscious patternings, like at least subconscious patternings that are like blind to you, because with the sun card coming up, I feel like you're pretty aware of where your, like traumas have come from, or you're really aware, what's a better way of saying that, of where you're like distorted behavior has come from, protection mechanisms, you know, that kind of thing. You're very aware, and you've like, you know how to glean the necessary wisdom in order to not let it hold you back. So even though this is in the subconscious, I'm seeing a very like empowered subconscious, to where you're consciously working with your subconscious to bring these things to the light, to gain the wisdom here for it. And then like in doing so, like consistently balancing out the karmic scales, you know, and breaking generational. This tells me you're breaking generational curses, generational cycles, right? You had a heavier start. I feel like you had a lot to clear for your family. But if you have kids and family, like they're going to be, you know, light years ahead of any of us, you know, in our age group. So moving on is, what am I here to learn? What is pile number 1 here to learn? We have deep cellular healing. Yeah, I was definitely seeing that. Arcturus energy, physical and emotional healing for sure. That's definitely being reiterated here. So let's see, what else do we have? We have star bathing, light body, crystal grid, transmission, and activation. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just like, how am I going to get this to work? Okay, so where's my... Yeah, so I feel like you're just learning how to really come into your body more at this time. There is a sense here of, just based off that 8 of Wands that I saw and the cellular healing and the activation energy, could tell me that you guys have dealt with and or are currently dealing with a hell of a lot of anxiety. You're just very sensitive, and a big part of that is something that you're already aware of. You're like consciously working of it. Again, it's not like a huge subconscious influence that is like overwhelming. But you're learning how to heal on a very profound level. And you guys might even be exploring things about like, you know, generational karma and how many generations affects you, and just like actually learning the science and the spiritual nature behind healing these things. But yeah, I feel like a big part of this is just activating more light codes, okay? And learning how to become more light and to not take things not to take things too seriously. Yeah, that came through in the beginning, and it's coming through again. So let's see. Let's reiterate this energy, please, Spirit. What is pile number 1 learning in this current assignment? To follow those little buds of intuition. King of Cups. I love that. Yeah, to follow the little buds of intuition, because a lot of the things, I feel like the things that have started off really small for me that I'm like, ooh, this would be cool, and I just like decide to dabble in it. I give myself permission to just dabble. They actually end up being some of the things that I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that I listened to that still little thing, you know, that quiet little whisper that was so tiny, and it once started off as like an idea that could have easily slipped away intuitively, but I followed through with it. And because so, like, I'm so much more deeply established in my intuition and trusting it so much more. So that's a big reason why coming into the body is really being emphasized right now, in terms of your intuition and activating you to a greater level. That's what this cellular healing, this physical and emotional healing is about. It's all about nervous system restoration, okay? And that's, the intuition lives in the body. And so if we've been through trauma, or we just like feel anxious, it's like, it's hard to decipher our intuition from fear, you know? And so really being comfortable in the body again is really important to be able to literally create a life of your dreams. That's what like serendipity is all about, is like, this is what feels right. And just seeing how you really can trust. You can totally trust life to carry you along, you know? And so maybe that's something too. There's like some degree of social anxiety that you guys might experience, because that is something that's coming up of like what wants your attention. You crave deeper connections, but there's a part of you that's a little bit like reserved because of whatever experiences you had growing up around, you know, peers or family, or just like opening your heart up to people. Okay. And so at this time, you're really being guided to you know, take the necessary steps to really get back into your body and to get back, you know, just embodiment, you know, getting back in touch with your intuitive capacities, feeling relaxed in your body, okay, feeling light in your body. We have the 4 of Wands, so this is more about celebration, okay? Life is a celebration. Life doesn't have to be something so hard. It doesn't have to be so hard to exist. Okay, it doesn't have to be so hard. Like something that used to frustrate me when I was going through a lot of Kundalini activations and just undoing my own trauma, like even just admitting that I had been through some, like I didn't associate it with myself until I was like 25, because I really didn't think it was a thing, you know? And I just remember having such resentment for people that it seemed like it was so easy for them to go through life. Oh, sorry about that. To go through like, oh my God, that's a ding. That is such a sign. Okay. So that is like your guides really being like, yeah, this is it. You're on point. Like, okay, I'm gonna keep going on with this tangent. Cause sometimes I'm like, do they really want to hear this? Yes, you really want to hear this. So it would like, I would sometimes be resentful of people where it seemed like so easy for them to just exist. And like, although I could bulldoze my way through things and like, you know, had accomplished really great things and can still do that, it like wasn't until I started coming back into my body and healing, doing the healing work and just breathing and meditating that I was like, oh my God, not only can I continue to do hard things that take risks. And of course, when we stretch our comfort zone, we're going to feel some degree of tension, but it doesn't have to be freaking debilitating, man. You know, it was so debilitating for me in certain points. And that's where a lot of my own shame came from. But, you know, I'm just kind of a warrior, kind of a fighter. And I feel like you guys are too. And so you're getting to a point to where, you know, what you're here to learn is that it doesn't have to be a fight. It doesn't have to be so hard. It doesn't have to be like, you know, seem so easy. It can be easy for you too to also exist and to flow in and out of relationships and to make friends. Like it can be easy for you to talk to people and to just be yourself. It can be easy for you to follow that intuitive spark and, you know, open up whatever. Like for me, I had a little intuitive spark of opening up donation-based classes before I'm even done with my certification, but I have all of the I have all the knowledge that I need to like confidently lead people. And because of that, like I have met with like about 24 incredible souls and people. And it brought not only like financial prosperity, which is cool. And it's like good for me to like see how easy it is to make money when you're really aligned with your calling, but also just like how fulfilling it is when you're really in alignment, when you're in that serendipitous energy, you're going with a flow, you're getting that intuitive hit, you're running with it, and you're seeing just how freaking epic and fast you can grow in a short amount of time when, you know, you're just like prioritizing your well-being, you're prioritizing the sense that you're an empath and you need to recharge, you need to release energies and need to come into your body. Okay. So life can be easy. It can be a celebration. And the lovers, this is so beautiful. So what are you here to learn? Like you are such a beautiful soul. You are such a beautiful soul and you are such a catch. And I feel like a lot of people like feel so good around you because again, you're this healer, you're this empath and you have so much to offer, group number one. And I feel like you make everyone feel at home. You make everyone feel like they belong somewhere. You make everyone feel like there is somebody. Okay. And that is so beautiful. And I feel like, yeah, you might know that to a degree, but it might be challenging because of just whatever you've been through and actually trusting that people mean what they say. But, you know, I feel like the more that you do your healing, the more that you'll really start to, you know, see the light that you bring into people's lives and how like much of an impact you have, you know, on people. So moving forward, we're going to get into where can you gain support, pile number one. We have Uranus change. Okay. Something is changing for sure. Changing your behaviors, changing your patterns, you know, when you, there's like an awareness of your subconscious for sure. And a wisdom, you know, about like you understand where certain things have come from, where like your anxieties are from, right? Where certain things were born from. And so it's like, you know that, and you know that's an old narrative. And so are we taking the steps necessary to like tell a different story? And 12th house, we have introspection. Okay, so really taking time to go in even deeper maybe. And I feel like this is also just about like meditation too, you know, because I see this as the chakras. And, you know, when someone is sitting in a lotus position, their spine is aligned and all of the chakras are aligned here. So let's get deeper with where can pile number one gain support for this current assignment? Where can they gain support? Know that things are going to happen as they're meant to. These both kind of look like a wheel to me. So that Wheel of Fortune energy is pretty strong. We have the Fool. Where can they gain support? We have the Five of Cups coming up again. Interesting. I'm not going to take all of these, but I'll take what feels relevant. Spirit. Lots of fives. Yep, there's meditation coming again. Four of Cups. Okay, so this is like, yeah, with the fives are about like being honest about what's actually up, what's actually going on, not necessarily how we wish things were, but how things actually are. Okay, we have this is like you're not seeking support in the same areas that you normally would or that you normally have in the past, okay? Especially with the Four of Cups and the Uranus with change. This is being really conscientious about where you are funneling your energy and who you're choosing to spend your time around, and getting really clear about, okay, yeah, I feel like there's some like action plan that's needed. So where you go into a journaling session and you're just like, okay, so where's my intuition? Like, what do I want support in? What's the direction that I want to go in? And then like, what is the guided action to take from there? And once I open up, I'm going to be opening up my breath sessions soon. And in all of my sessions, you know, we can really dive into anything together. And so we can do journaling exercises as well, where we're really just like breathing and meditating, opening space for the divine mind to speak to us. And then we're receiving that like channeled information, you know? So this is really giving yourself permission to not really like start anything new right now. Don't jump into like a new direction too soon before you're aware of the place you're coming from when you're like moving in a new direction. Cause I'm getting the sense that things are going to change soon. Like you're going to be out of a situation that is bringing conflict, that is bringing some like grief to you. Like, this energy that you might have been in, that is kind of the opposite of what you kind of want to go, is getting ready. You're getting ready to switch out of it, but it's like, it's going to happen. You don't need to go seek it. It's going to happen. And to be kind of cautious about what you end up saying yes and no to, because I feel like at this time, it's really important that you're making those decisions that are in alignment with your why and that are in alignment with this new version of yourself, or this like your destiny, you know, the person that you say that you want to become. Yeah, this is pretty straightforward. So gaining support from your own higher self in meditation. Yeah, not listening to, look how there's people plugging their ears, not listening to other people, you know, that really don't know your path or like really have your highest interest, you know, that maybe just want to offer a cup or offer advice to you. But it's like not really grounded in wisdom. It's more grounded in their own projections. Okay, so next is a positive step forward on your destiny path. What is a positive step? So yeah, this is really taking care of yourself, okay? This is really nurturing yourself. There's so much here about nurturing yourself and introspection. So maybe even taking time away from people, taking time away from the drama, people that like just bring like negativity into your life, that bring drama into your life, that, you know, are gossipy, you know, changing relationships, I feel like is really important, because it's like, if we really want this like satsang, this sangha, this community, this spiritual community, it's really important that we're making space for those people, those things. Anima Mundi. So this is all about, I feel like this is about immersing yourself in those energies. You know, when you're like in your meditation, like asking yourself, what does this look like? How am I carrying myself, you know, on this highest path? Like, what is in this current assignment? It's all about really making some positive changes, radical changes, and healing, doing the deep work of healing in order to align even more and allow a greater flow of, you know, the things that support your internal landscapes, you know, externally to support it. Okay. Next we have Aletheia. So we have 2 initiation cards. There's only 8 of these in the entire deck. So a positive step forward, it's about like, Aletheia is about truth that leaves us feeling that we can breathe. It is very similar to this serendipitous type of energy. So giving yourself permission to not make decisions or to not hang out with people if you're genuinely not inspired to do so. Like, don't say yes to something, that Fool in reverse. Don't say yes to something if you don't really feel like you want to leap off a cliff to do it. You know, if it's not, it's been said before, if it's not a fuck yes, it's a no. You know, and so I feel like Aletheia is really telling, because there's something here about a positive step forward is you're only saying yes to those things that leave you feeling like, I can breathe, like it feels good, like this is more of my truth. Yes, this is more of that serendipitous energy. Yes, this is more of my type of person, right? It's like really giving yourself permission to not only you're going through the internal healings, but now you're allowing your external behaviors to reflect this internal wisdom that you are gaining, okay? And being really honest. And the 12th house is about losses, okay? The 12th house is about letting go. The 12th house is about like death, you know, and release. And so there is a lot here about releasing, but it's not going to feel like painful. I feel like it's actually going to feel really good. again, with that Four of Cups energy, like, do you really want to pick it back up? Do you really want to accept that cup? Or do you want to, you know, make a different decision and just like head into that Five of Cups energy, grieve whatever grief you need to grieve, because even if it wasn't the best for us, we've spent time around it. So it was what was familiar. And so grieve that grieve. And so you can like move on to the 6, the 7, the 8, you know, the 9 eventually of Cups. So shapeshifter. So positive step forward. Yeah, this is really like changing your environment. This is really making those external changes to support this internal type of like expansion and healing. Okay. So this is super straightforward. I mean, the messages have been extremely consistent. Shapeshifter is about change. You know, this is about change. There's so much here about healing and the internal healing and allowing, you know, we can do so much healing, but if we're like, you know, going back to the same environments that like triggered us into our like unhealed self, then that kind of defeats the purpose, you know, is kind of what I'm hearing. So allowing the external world to match these internal changes and just nurturing yourself, giving yourself permission to nurture and to let those losses, you know, those things, you know, just let them go. Those things that we're holding on to that actually don't bring any type of like, honor the grief, but you know, it's like, don't sulk is what I'm getting in terms of these things that you're releasing. But yeah, this is pretty straightforward. I'm going to leave this here for now. If this was your reading, go ahead and leave a lucky, a 4-leaf clover down in the comment section if there's nothing else you want to share. Thank you so much for sticking around. Give this video a thumbs up if it resonated. And I do hope to see you on my channel again soon. Much love. Hey, group number 2, welcome to your reading today. This is your current assignment in your Earth School's curriculum. One of my favorite topics, and I saw someone comment on like an older video saying these were their favorite videos, and I'm like, you know what? They're my favorite too. Just because it can bring so much validation and clarity in terms of what we already know that we need to be working on, the direction that we want to be going, but maybe for whatever reason don't have that. It can be so many different reasons actually why we're not moving that direction, but I hope this just gives you guys the encouragement that you need to move in the directions that you know you need to move in. Okay, so 5 aspects we're diving into today. The first is what needs your attention right now. I actually think these are not in the right order. There we go. So we have what currently needs your attention right now. What is it that is subconsciously influencing you? What is it that you are to learn within this assignment? Where can you gain support and a positive step forward along your destiny's path? Okay, these are here for clarification purposes, and you can stick around for the shuffling portion, or you can skip right on through to get straight into the reading. So we're calling on those guides that are overseeing the group of souls that will be drawn to this video today, and we are asking that you clarify what does group number 2, what's begging for their attention right now in terms of this current assignment, their divine assignment. Okay, we had one just come out really quickly. Okay, 2, really straightforward, awesome. Now, Spirit, we are asking what is subconsciously influencing group number 2? What are group number 2's subconscious influences? Group number 2's subconscious influences. Okay, anything else for subconscious influences, please? Look at that. Love how they just popping out. Anything else we need to know, please? Okay, next we are asking, what is group number 2 to learn within this current assignment? What is group number 2 to learn within this current assignment? Okay. And lastly, or not lastly, right now, where can pile 2 gain support? Where can pile 2 gain support right now? Those 2. And lastly, what is a positive step pile 2 can take in the direction of their destiny's path? No matter how far along they already are, what's the direction they can take? Okay. All right, let's jump into this. So first we're asking, what needs your attention right now? We have flexible, And we have chaos and conflict. Okay, that's a pretty straightforward message. So your current assignment is teaching you how to not break when you're in chaos and conflict, and learning how it's here to make you more pliable. You're learning resiliency. You're building resiliency at this point in time. You're learning that it's not here to as a punishment, but it really is here to show you your tenacity, your perseverance, your power. There's this beautiful translation of the Yoga Sutras where Swami Satchidananda basically said how, you know, there's a certain goal for meditation, right? And that's to achieve perfect concentration, which by completely being able to have our mind under control, we are able to experience bliss consciousness. There's no me or we or I to experience it. It's like we literally, our consciousness becomes that of source consciousness, God consciousness, Christ consciousness. And he was reiterating throughout these sutras, though, that there's a reason why it's challenging, though. And there's a reason why we backpedal. There's a reason why it's not always easy, because that's when we are revealed our true power, is when it's challenging, right? And then he went on to describe it similar to like a river, or like a river, when you put like a dam in a river and you see how much more powerful it is because there are obstacles in the way. Right. And so similar to us, the human experience, the hero's journey, these challenges aren't meant to break us. They're meant to reveal our power to us. And so more and more, we're slightly, little by little, changing our perception of challenges and not seeing it as something debilitating or something that's like uncomfortable or something that we don't want. But also the Yoga Sutras say that one of the main ways that we can help achieve this mental clarity, this mental calm, not disturbing the mind any further than it is and creating more debris to clear up along the way. But it's like we're using our pain as a purification. Okay. And when you are utilizing it in that way, that's like where the alchemy begins to happen, right? That's where you take a substance that it's valuable, you know, not saying anyone's invaluable, but just hang out with me for this analogy of like, you take a substance that's like, you know, it's worth something, its value is there, but through this process of purification, transformation, heat, immense heat and pressure, it's alchemized into something that is worth so much more. The value is so much more. It's become so much more streamlined and finely tuned. So I'm hearing that's what your current assignment is right now, is learning how to see your challenges not as a way to break you, but as a way to make you. Okay, so let's see what else might be going on right now. What needs your attention? Yeah, definitely some chaos. Okay, so maybe some gossip that's happening around you, about you, fighting with family members. Yeah, you feel like maybe luck is not on your side right now, that for the life of you, you're like, how do I get out of this? I don't see a way out of a certain situation that is bringing conflict or something. Yeah, there's a lot of like stagnant energy that I'm definitely seeing come up. Some anxieties about how you're going to, you know, like, is this going to ever get better? Am I ever going to feel like it's like things are easy? Am I ever going to feel like things are lighthearted? You know, the thing about the Knight of Swords in particular, this is a card where there's a lot of enthusiasm and like our thoughts are flowing freely. And when it's in an upright, right, thoughts are flowing freely. There's a lot of great ideas. There's a lot of like passion and just like it, kind of that Fool energy. And in a reverse, I'm hearing in this situation in particular, it's like maybe a bit like the thoughts are a bit dull, and like the opposite of that, a lot of anxiety too. High Priestess in reverse. Yeah, I'm not surprised to see all of this energy together. These three cards, the Knight of Swords, the Nine of Swords, and the High Priestess in reverse. It's like your current assignment is, you know, you're seeing how when you're in this state of conflict and when you're really engaging in it and you're buying into all of the stories. I'm not saying it's negative to honor your human experience. It's just like, you know, taking it for what it is, seeing that this is your curriculum. And when we become too attached, when our nose becomes too close up to the screen, so to speak, of our life, like the play of our life, we forget that it's a screen. We forget that it's a movie. We get so lost in the character that we're in. And so I'm hearing that there's this chaos that's around you, and this has created a sense of deep anxiety, and that anxiety does not allow us to differentiate fear from intuition. Okay, and so there's something really there is something really beneficial for you to know about this. I mean, this is something too, like sometimes I'm like, God, I wish I would have learned about breath and meditation like years ago, you know, when I first, man, like I just feel like it just would have put me so much farther ahead, just because these are embodiment techniques. These are, intuition lives in our body, right? And it seems like there's things right now that are pulling you out of your body, that are triggering kind of a fight, flight, sympathetic type of response. And I feel like you've been there for a while. And so it's like, how do we even begin? But the great thing is your current assignment is encouraging you. What needs your attention is encouraging you a new way to go about things. It's like something very practical that you're doing to bring you back into your body and to help the wheels turn, so to speak. But this contrast was necessary. You know, I understand now when I'm able to identify people that might struggle with some of the things that I struggled with back in the day, but I spent so much time trying to figure out like how to let the wisdom I felt in my body actually come through, because I felt so much wisdom and power, but I was a house divided against myself because of the trauma, right? The experiences and the conflict. So learning how to come back into the body has really allowed that to come through in a way that is less forced, less like I'm trying to prove something, and more that just trusting and flexible. Like there's a sense of like relaxation. So I'm kind of getting that your assignment is similar. You're just getting the contrast you need right now. But there is something that I feel like what needs your attention. There's some sort of idea or moving forward that's really practical. It's rooted in doing something. It's rooted in your environment or something you're changing about your routine. You know, it could even be a course of study or something, or investing in some sort of like class, like a breathwork class or something where that has to do with helping to bring calm to this chaos that you're feeling internally. And that might just be, it might not even be something that's like right now in your external environment, but that it just seems like because it lives underneath a surface, it's always kind of looming, you know, and it's affecting just your ease of existence. So what's subconsciously influencing you right now? We have victory and success. We have sacrifice. We have transformation. We have patience and planning, and we have the universe. So your subconscious influences are very positive. I feel like you have this drive within you to succeed, no matter what, against all odds. You're like, I am going to succeed. I know I'm here for something big. Your subconscious, how your subconscious is influencing you. You're creating these scenarios. Your higher self is creating scenarios for you to put you under the pressure. Okay. That's where that transformation is coming from. Or that's how the transformation is starting to begin. Like you're being put in these uncomfortable situations or these things that like keep happening. Like when, we don't really necessarily know all the time that we've been traumatized, for example, until we're put in certain situations that brings it up. And there's, for whatever reason, even this situation can be completely neutral and normal, but like your body can be going through a traumatic response. And so I feel like a subconscious influence is that you're creating these scenarios. You're being put a lot in situations with that 5 of Wands and the 9 of Swords reverse that is bringing up these like imprints within your subconscious. You can call them samskaras too in like Indian language, or karma, right? Karmic patterns. So you're drawing into your experience, into your life, those situations that are going to trigger those things so you can see them. And so you can see them in a different way with this Hanged Man energy. There's a potential there's a desire to see them in a different way because that's what's going to bring victory and success. This is a game of the mind. This is a game of the subconscious. This is a game of, how we see, our lens of perception, and really knowing that something needs to change, right? There's a big emphasis of knowing something needs to change for me to continue on my path in an even more empowered way. It's like the subconscious is like, something needs to change. I need to get moving in a certain direction so I can like finally be done with this. And I feel like you're kind of in a pressure cooker right now, to where you can feel that you're kind of like on a cruxus, to where this chaos and conflict is bringing you to a point of no return, like almost like a point, like it's the straw that broke the camel's back is kind of what I'm hearing. And you've been having a series of those like little things that have just been adding up to where I feel like soon something is going to happen something's going to occur, whether that's like something very obvious outside, or whether it's just, there's just been so much influence of those little teeny tiny fault lines that have created like a massive crack, a massive break, and no turning back moment. And your subconscious is influencing you and saying that it's time to get moving towards your victory and success. It's time to get moving towards, your life purpose and what you are here to bring to the planet at this time. It's time to get going. And I feel that maybe there's an uncertainty of how to move forward or what needs to get done, right? And here we are, your current assignment. So let's get deeper into that. Let's see how we can bring more clarity. Okay. So what are you to learn? We have star ancestors, hidden secret, lost wisdom. Look a little bit deeper. We have We the Hawthorns, deep love, mother's milk, birth as a portal. I would say you're definitely going through a birthing process right now, and you're going through those intense labor pains. Next, we have Earth, learning how to be human in the world, but not of it. This is a really major card for me for grounding, okay, and getting in touch, coming back into the body, right? So let's get a little bit deeper with the tarot, with what you are here to learn. In this current assignment, what is pile 2 here to learn within this current assignment, please? We have Page of Wands. We have the 6 of Wands coming up in a reverse position. Interesting. We have Judgment. There's something here about like having a curious nature. Making the journey to find your 9 of Cups, not relying so much on external things. Queen of Pentacles. Let's see. We have the 5 of Pentacles in reverse. We have the 7 of Cups in reverse and the 8 of Cups. And keep these next to each other. And we have, interesting, the King of Pentacles in reverse. Okay. So in order to unlock more of your wisdom, right, the wisdom of your soul there, and to reach the success that it feels like you really want and is written for you, there's a coming back to the self that is really emphasized over and over again within these readings, okay? I feel like, too, there's an emphasis about taking action, and maybe even putting yourself in a situation to where you are actively seeking some sort of like guidance externally, or you're actively like looking for solutions, because, these two archetypes are people that are very involved in like earthly matters. And with the King in reverse, I feel like you're very good at letting, I feel like it's kind of like wanting the answers to just come, versus like, I feel like the answers have been coming to you, and now it's time to go and like act on what has been coming to you in order to really seal the deal on this chapter and seal the deal on, just your relationship to conflict and your relationship to, maybe other people not like agreeing with you. And yeah, I feel like there is, with the Page of Wands, it's like having a curiosity. The Page of Wands has so many different ideas and directions it wants to go in, and actually exploring those is really important. Okay, and you are in a time where I feel like it's pretty vital with this, like the portal, the birth portal is a very like vital period of when the baby needs to get out, when when this process, it's been moving along, we've been pressurized, right? And now it's just time to get it out there, or things are going to become, there will be more problems down the line if the baby doesn't come out, if you can kind of pick up what I'm putting down with this analogy. So it's like, in terms of what you're learning, you're coming back to yourself. You're being the person that is the one that is making the decisions for your own life, and not necessarily relying so much on what other people have to say. I feel like part of the reason you might be feeling very confused on how to move forward, or like not knowing how to get out of this energy of conflict and like this energy of like survival. And this kind of reminds me of a sympathetic state, being in a sympathetic state, like my needs aren't taken care of, my, you know, which is all very essential. But I'm seeing so much earth energy and cups. So there's a lot of feminine energy here. And I feel like what you're learning is how to bring more of that masculine component into your life. And so it's like taking initiative to sign up for that class that you feel like you should do, taking initiative to put yourself in environments where, you know, it's like there's not so much shame around who you are now and why you have certain hiccups, why you have certain hangups, why, you know, why it might seem easier for other people to exist, and so challenging for you to exist, and for you to just like be a human, and for you to even do simple things like ordering food or, you know, talking to the cashier. That's a level of kind of like disconnect I'm feeling from this group. And I don't say that like there's nothing, that's part of the journey, you know, there's nothing wrong with any of it. So I just want to continue to reiterate that. But there's a lot of wisdom that is living within your body, and until we can really get in tune with that wisdom, group number 3 and I'm sorry, group number 2, really grounding into our body, then it's going to be really challenging to know how to make decisions that are going to lead you to the type of success that, again, your subconscious, your higher self is kind of like calling you towards. Okay, so there's a lot about coming back into your body and being in your body, unlocking love, right? Unlocking the heart chakra, which is you know, the bridge between the higher self and the lower self, the divine self and the human self. And I feel like making decisions and moving forward is going to be so much easier when you're tuning more into the wisdom of your body. And this is one of the reasons why I offer breath work and meditation in my own practice. And that's why I have been doing it. And that's why I went through a certification process, so I can, you know, guide other people through this as well, because I know the effects of trauma as well. I know the effects of just, you know, being extremely empathic, and just the human experience on an empath can be so debilitating. And so learning how to be in the body where the intuition lives becomes really important, because that's, you know, it's like if we're in a maze, which we all are on this earth from this perspective of the lower self, if we're not connected to our intuition, we don't know how to discern. It's like we're taking all the turns, right? We're going through all the directions, going through all the dead ends, but our intuition is kind of like our access to a person that like has a walkie-talkie that is like hovering above the maze in a helicopter and can tell us where to go. You know, and so that's why it's so important to be in the body, because it's like we're not second guessing the directions we're going. We're not second guessing if that decision was the right decision to make. We're not second guessing ourselves, and we just know that, you know, it's all leading somewhere. We really just trust those inspiring ideas, no matter how small they might seem. We really trust because we have seen time and time again, right? Once we really start to honor the intuition and come into the body, we see, wow, there's really something to this, and I have to listen to myself. I have to be in my body. I have to constantly create conditions to where I am doing these embodiment practices so I can hear the wisdom of my soul, because it starts as a whisper. That's what the Quakers call the still small voice within. That's the God self, right? The Atman, as it's said in some religions, the Atman, the smaller self, or the higher self that is connected to the divine soupiness of all of creation, which is the Brahman, right? The one, so to speak. So yeah, pretty straightforward. You're here to learn how to really trust yourself and to be the best judge of your life and the greatest authority in your life, and seeking out those outlets that are going to help you come into your body more. And that could even be like, you know, an exercise class can also help, like a yoga class, or, you know, just get them going out and walking, something as simple as that, paying attention to your breath as you're walking. You know, it doesn't have to be something that necessarily costs a whole lot of money, but is, you know, little by little every day, we're doing something at least 5 minutes a day, first thing, to really ground and center ourselves in the wisdom of our body. So next we're getting into where can you gain support we have discomfort. Yeah, leaning into the discomfort. Don't try to like hide from it is what's coming up, you know, more and more is like, it's here to show you something, and to not think that something is inherently flawed about you because you have these experiences, because, you know, it seems like so-and-so that's your age, you know, has achieved so much or seems so relaxed in themselves, and why am I not? Well, you know, just different lessons this time around, different karmas, right? Neptune, vision. Where can you gain support to go into a meditation or to, you know, journal about where you see yourself going? What's your ideal life, you know, and what does it feel like? And then what are the steps that you need to take in order to merge more and more with that? Because there is a very active component here that I'm really getting from this, of like changing something in your current day-to-day that is actually going to get the ball rolling more in this direction of merging with your divine self. Lastly, we have future. Yeah. Okay. With vision and future, there's like a progression here. This is really like letting go of the past, merging more with your future self by, we do it, honestly, it happens effortlessly because, you know, there's so much science behind meditation that like, and breath work, where it's like we start to gain, our brain becomes, it enhances its neuroplasticity. And so if you listen to Joe Dispenza's work or know anything about just like how ideas and beliefs and identities work, it's like when thoughts that fire together, wire together. So when we're in a constant state of anxiety, it's like that's our, over time becomes our identity, our expectation of ourselves. And, you know, also if we're in a heightened state of conflict, a lot of the time, certain parts of our brain that is actually linked to our intuition shut down because the body is just worried about protecting itself, whether it's just real or perceived threat. And a lot of the time in our culture, it's a perceived threat. It's not actually real. And so these types of things that help gain greater neuroplasticity and just like help to release alkaline chemicals in the body more, like exercise, walking, endorphins, right? Alkaline chemicals like serotonin and dopamine are released within the first 30 to 45 seconds of sitting down for a meditation, you know? So if that's any incentive to at least sit down for 5 minutes a day, I think, you know, that's a pretty good incentive, you know, but it's like really doing things to where you're aligning more, you're dropping the uncomfortable narratives of yourself, and you're really aligning with that future version of yourself. You have the vision, you're becoming the vision, you're feeling that, you know, and by feeling that more and more, seeing it, feeling it, being it, you are creating new neural pathways. You are literally creating a new identity. And that's when why we do breath work, why we meditate, is because it helps to create literally new beliefs and literally new identities that are not so stagnant, that are not so like, that aren't so rigid. They're flexible. It's always changing. And we start to merge more our identity with the unchanging self, the higher self, the self that is more wise, right? We merge with the future self, right? And the future self is like, has already gone through all of the things that you're currently going through and been sending you, hey, do this, you should really do this. All right. And leaning into that vision, leaning into that direction that your future self has been like guiding you towards, because it's what's going to lead you to this victory and success. All right. But actually taking those steps is really necessary. So lastly, what is a positive step moving forward? We have aletheia. This is like truth, unveiling. Okay, that's more of that judgment energy. Next, we have gnosis. Okay, you have 2 initiation cards. So this is like studying. This is like the card for mystics, the card for studying spirituality, philosophy. Okay, there's so much here about truth. Okay, coming back into truth and immersing yourself in practices and in knowledge and techniques and things that are actually going to, you know, help you have this coming to self moment over and over and over again with aletheia. It's like, it feels so good. It's like, oh my God, I can finally breathe. You know, now that this has been unveiled, I feel like the more that you like meet yourself in those containers, even if it's like, you know, you can do so much transformation in like a circular breath work container where you're breathing for like an hour. And like, for me, I've had so many breakthrough moments where it is really like a plant medicine experience, which is cool that you don't have to go on those journeys, especially if you're really sensitive to substances like myself, but you can make such incredible progress and have such incredible breakthroughs in just like 45 minutes to an hour of like, conscious connected breathing, so I really am getting that something like that is really going to help you. And you've already been kind of receiving ideas, or like heard someone talk about it or something, or you will hear someone talk about it and they're like, wow, yeah, this really helped me. I mean, that's any time I've ever started exploring anything is because like I kept hearing the messages over and over again, and following through the village. Okay. So positive steps forward. So being around people that are, on the same path of healing as you. And this is interesting because it kind of reminds me of the 5 of Wands energy, because when this is not and it's positive, this is like the people you're around are holding you back. Okay, so that might apply to you, or some of you, the people that you're around are holding you back. And it's really important to associate with people that are on the same path of healing as you. Okay. And next we have the World card. You have 3 freaking initiation cards, and there's only 8 of them in this thick ass deck that I have. So, yeah, this is really like monumental. Okay. I really do feel like you're teetering on the lines of like a really big breakthrough. And this is like, this current assignment is not meant to be easy. Okay. It's probably been very uncomfortable and very debilitating in some cases, but when you're on the other side, you're going to be so freaking grateful that you went through all of this. Okay. But yeah, this is telling me, this is reiterating that you're going out and you're doing something in the world. Okay. So you're going out, you're taking action, you're in the world, but you're not of it. Continues to come up. Okay. So being a human, living your human incarnation, not being afraid, to just like get out there, and a big emphasis too on just your environment shaping you, and maybe going on some sort of pilgrimage or journey is really reiterated, whether that is like actually traveling, or it's like more of a metaphorical, like a vision quest, like an internal vision quest, or like a plant medicine ceremony or something. So anything else we need to know about positive steps forward on their path of destiny? Yeah, this is like something about reading spiritual text too, knowing that, yeah, the life that you want, I mean, you might feel that you're not anywhere close, or that you have so much work to do or something, but I feel like you're a lot closer than you think. And this is necessary. This is going to help you in so many areas of your life, is what I'm hearing. The clarity that you're receiving about healing this one aspect of your life is going to make everything flow so much easier. And the life that you want, the life of your dreams, you literally have the Lover coming up twice here. Okay. So positive step forward, like, the reason why there's actually 3 Lovers cards in here, and it's because there's a hetero couple and there's 2 like same-sex couples. So I like to keep them all in here because of this. If this comes up, it's really relevant. Like, a positive step on your destiny path is really following those directions that you're like, this would be so cool, but I really don't know. Or like feeling like, I don't know if I'm actually ready for this. You are. Whatever it is that you've been wanting to have an idea, or whatever ideas you've been having about going in a certain direction, that it's linked to your happily ever after, it's linked to the path of your destiny, but it might feel too good to be true because there's such like that, deep association still with past versions of yourself. You got to lean into it, right? It's like that. The pressure is needed. The discomfort is needed. Okay. This debilitating energy is needed. This is what is revealing the diamond in the rough. All right. And so making those, hard calls, right. And those things that might put you in a situation that makes you have to temporarily relive something that you're, try to avoid, because as humans, we have a natural tendency to want to avoid things that bring great discomfort to us. But there's so much wisdom that you're going to gain by leaning in the direction of those things that scare you, and, reaching out and maybe asking for help or getting a therapist. There's a very active thing that's going to bring more wisdom and bring you into greater alignment with your own truth, your personal truth. And the more we're living in alignment with our personal truth, the more that we just feel free to be who we are. And we just flow so much more graciously through challenge and strife, because we know at the end of the day, this is a vehicle. Everything is a vehicle for our liberation. If used as such, and not everyone chooses to use it as such, but this is a defining moment where I hope you use it, because you have such powerful energy. There are really great things in store for you. There are some powerful codes here, and it really is about getting into your body. Okay. And without a doubt, I know you're going to be helping other people in some way with the deep wisdom that you learn from, this currently challenging assignment, because the greatest teachers, they can teach it from all angles because they've been through it. They know the pitfalls, right? They know the shortcomings. They know the tweaks. They know how to help you hold your posture perfectly, so you're not, gonna put too much stress on a joint, and so you're getting the most amount of muscle engagement in the posture you're in, referring this to my fitness background. But yeah, I'm gonna leave this here for now. I hope this brought clarity, confirmation, and peace to your heart today, my friends. If this was your reading, give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. If this was your reading, go ahead and leave a rainbow down below in the comment section if you have nothing else you want to share. And I do hope to see you on my channel again soon. Much love. Hey, group number 3, welcome to your reading all about your current assignment within Earth's University. All right, so there are 5 aspects we're diving into today. First is what needs your attention right now. Second is what is subconsciously influencing you. Third, we're diving into what are you here to learn through this lesson and assignment. 4, where can you gain support? And 5, a positive step that you can take along your destiny's path. Okay, so you can stick around for the shuffling process, or head to my description box and just jump ahead to where the reading starts. So right now, Spirit, we're asking those beings that will be drawn to this video and those overseers that are helping those individuals throughout their incarnation. We're calling upon you and asking what needs Pile 3's attention currently. So those beings overseeing the group of souls drawn to this reading, we are asking what is subconsciously influencing them? What is subconsciously influencing them? What is subconsciously influencing pile number 3? What is subconsciously influencing pile number 3? All right. Now we are wondering, now we're wondering what is pile 3 to learn from this assignment? Please, Spirit, those guides overseeing the souls of those beings drawn to this pile. What are they learning within this assignment? Okay. Now we are asking, where can pile 3 gain support? Where can pile 3 gain support? Okay. All right, and lastly, a positive step that pile 3 can take along their path to move forward. What's a positive step pile 3 can take along their destiny's path? Okay. All right, let's jump right into it. So first, what needs your attention? Group number 3, we have soulmates and we have yang. This can mean a lot of things. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get a little bit deeper. We're asking for clarification of this energy for pile number 3 and what needs their attention, please. Ten of Wands. 8 of Cups, 9 of Swords. Interesting energy. We have the 6 of Pentacles. Okay, we have the Queen of Wands. And we have Temperance. So I'm hearing something about knowing where to, like something in your life that has been there for quite some time, I feel like, might be sucking up your energy, pile number 3. And so I feel like knowing where to invest your energy and what to continue on, I guess, like what to, trying to think of a better way of saying this, but there's something in your life, there might be even multiple areas that you've remained very loyal to. It could even be a person. Obviously it could be a person. And I feel like it might be holding you back a little bit. It's bringing some unneeded stress, some unneeded pressure. And I feel like, yeah, I'm hearing something about like, either there's someone that is like jealous of opportunities that you're getting or like attention that you're getting. Or they're like holding you back, but maybe not in a malicious way. It might not be malicious. It might be like, on accident, something is holding you back in your life. And I feel like this might be something that you've wondered if you should walk away from. But it seems like there's just a lot of energy being fed in a certain direction, and that energy could be used to like going towards those things that you really want to create in this world. I just saw 444 on the clock. Going towards those things that are really meaningful to you and that are part of your soul's purpose. Okay, so might be getting a little bit too lost in a dynamic, or like I'm getting like distractions, like something about being distracted by an energy, or being distracted by a lover, or being distracted by like a friend, or being distracted by something where your energy is being eaten up by like the anxiety and like the heaviness and the overbearing nature of this. And it's not giving to you as much as you're giving to it. And I feel like you're at a point, pile number 3, where you want to go out and create from a healed version of yourself. Like you've been doing the work, right? You have been alchemizing yourself. You've been doing all the things, self-care that you need to do in order to be, you know, where you're at. And I just feel like there's something that is really weighing you down and bringing unneeded anxiety. And it's like, I feel like the guides are saying that we want to utilize that energy to create something, create from this new version of self versus continuing to create from this old patterning, this old heaviness, this old like burden type of energy. Okay. So interesting to start off with, but not surprised. It's part of the human experience. So what is subconsciously influencing you? We'll probably get more clarification too with that energy here. We have balance with justice. We have mental conflict. Yeah, I was definitely getting that with the 9 of Swords. We have the heart chakra. So you're a big lover. It's hard for you. You're an empath, okay? It's hard for you to let other people down. It's hard for you to be the one that feels like you're making someone experience like rejection wounds, okay? Yeah, I just get the sense that you're just such a lover. And I feel like you expect, look, you had temperance come up twice, okay? So you do expect, like there is some awareness around, like the fact that we have the sun coming up in the subconscious area tells me that there's some illumination in terms of why you operate the way that you do. I feel like this is also saying that for the most part, when something starts to hold you back, you kind of know, like you're kind of aware of, probably you know exactly what I'm talking about in terms of this thing. Like it wouldn't even be a question to you, pile number 3. And it's like, I feel like knowing whether to let someone stay in your life or not is kind of creating a lot of, like making you second guess yourself. Because on one hand, it's like you have such a big heart. And on another hand, I feel like you are just aware of how draining this situation is, or how draining a person is, or how draining this thing that I feel like has been in your life for some time, you know? Yeah, let's carry on. We have movement, choices, decisions. I am definitely getting that. It's like you've been healing, you've been growing, and now the version of you that maybe once attracted this situation in, or this scenario, this person, has now changed. And so now it's like, okay, where do we go from here? The scales have tipped, and this is about making the right decision from a level of integrity that's with the heart, you know. And when the heart makes the decisions, we can trust that it's inclusive of everyone's highest timeline, right? And lastly, we have heartache and loss. Yeah. Interesting. I feel like there's just there's like a lingering, looming energy, you know, where on one hand, I feel like pile number 3, what wants your attention is creating, going out into the world and doing your dharma and doing what you're here for. But there also feels like there's some sort of tether, you know. So it's interesting that we have both the heart chakra and the heartache and loss in the area of subconscious influences. So I feel like it's like separating the grief, understanding that grief is part of the process, and maybe it's even like, well, my heart feels sad, like thinking about this person not being in my life anymore, and so that means that I'm supposed to stay, or you know, my heart thinks I should stay. It seems like there's a really back and forth kind of thing here. And we'll definitely get more clarification as we move forward with this reading. But I feel like the subconscious influence is kind of like guilt. I'm feeling a level of guilt. I'm feeling a level of not wanting to let someone down, not wanting to, like maybe having come so far, you know, like something, you've grown with something or someone so much. And it's like, hard to sever those lines. It's hard to sever that cord. But I feel like you're being pulled to realizing more of your true nature and realizing more of your purpose. And so I feel like that's one of the biggest reasons why the sun is in here in the subconscious area, because you have been very intentional with your healing path. You've been very intentional about just your spiritual walk or philosophical walk, or just understanding the nature of reality. And because so, you've sent out a strong like vibrational order to the universe of like, I want truth. And so that's why that we have this card of truth coming up in the subconscious area. It's because you really want to not be held back by your karmas, which is essentially your samskaras. So essentially that's in my world, it's like the same thing. Karmas and what, scientists would call the subconscious. I feel like it's the same type of mechanism, and so there's like a desire to move past it, but I'm feeling that there's a lot of conflict within your subconscious. Like you don't know up from down or where to go from here. Okay. So let's see what you're here to learn. Let's see if this can bring more clarity. Lifting the veil. Yes, I was getting that. And question everything. Anything unaligned must go. With that 8 of Cups and just overall this message, I feel like your guides are really coming in strong right now, pile number 3, and saying it's time to do a revamp of the people in your life. It's time. It's time to stop going to those places that drain you energetically. It's time to stop going to being around those people that like make you question your worth and that make you feel like what you bring to the table isn't enough. And even if they're like cordial on the surface, it's those people. Sometimes it's even like the most subtle things that people do energetically that can be the most like harmful and just like toxic. And so this is being really honest about those things that are just really holding you back from healing even more. It's like you've reached kind of like a plateau. You kind of hit a plateau in your healing journey, your journey of expansion. And so I feel like part of it is like more paradigms, new paradigms wanting to come in, new pathways, new portals wanting to open. But because there's still this tether, and I feel like it's one or maybe even two, but I just feel like it's one big thing for everyone that's drawn to this, but maybe in different areas of life where it's like, it's still tethering you. Like you're anchored here. You're anchored at the doorway of all these new portals because of this like thing that's so hard to let go of. Yeah. Okay. So let's get a little deeper. The great severing. Oh my God. You can't make this up. So Mars energy, anger, conflict, softening to love. So yeah. Sometimes the most loving thing to do, group 3, doesn't appear the most loving. And that doesn't, what I'm not saying, I'm going to say what I'm not saying. It's not saying that, like, for example, abuse, could actually be loving, but it doesn't look loving. Not saying that whatsoever. But what I mean is sometimes we get this idea of like becoming self-sacrificial to where it's like this friend has always been there for us, for example, and we've grown so much with them. And for whatever reason, it just feels like, being around them, they don't understand you. They're, you question yourself. There's an energy, like an undercurrent of like judgment from them. But you want to do the right thing. It's like your heart wants to do the right thing, but also it's like you just don't feel honored in someone's presence. And so the most loving thing to do, in my most humble of opinions, is to put my heart chakra first, because I cannot give from an empty well. And so me being so in tune with my purpose and, I'm not going to be around people. Like I will cut family off. I don't care how long I've known you. Like, and that could be my, I have a lot of masculine energy and that could be a protection mechanism also. But it's like, I tell this to my lovers too. I'm like, what's most important to me is my purpose and nothing is going to stand in the way. So if at any point in time, it feels like this is draining me from being able to do that, then bye. And I'm very honest about that from the get-go. And so I feel like your guides are really wanting you to kind of have that same type of approach with your relationships or the situation or this like work, whatever. It's like, sometimes the most loving thing to do is, to be like, bye, this is not serving me and then 2, they'll learn whatever they need to learn from that reflection of like, oh shit, like, was I, being a shitty boss or whatever. But there's a lot here about, there's conflict, and the conflict is definitely being born by lingering in things that you've outgrown and that are unaligned. Okay, so let's get deeper into what are you here to learn. Pile number 3. What is pile 3 here to learn, please? Whoops, I definitely just put those all backwards. Okay, I'm gonna shuffle that out one more time just because that felt weird. What is pile number 3 here to learn, please, Spirit? Can you give us more details about this energy? Justice again. Yes. This is like, what is fair to you? And, you know, is it in alignment? Is it really in integrity? This is really about like, you know, justice cuts through the bullshit with their sword, man. And it's like, I'm hearing something about, there's one, I believe it's in Egyptian culture. There's one of the gods that, you know, holds something very similar to this. They hold the scale, and, you know, it said that when they die, when someone dies, their heart is weighed alongside a feather. And if the heart is heavier than the feather, then that means that there's like guilt and judgment, and they didn't like live up to their purpose, right? They didn't do the right things by them. And so the fact that I'm getting this imagery, I really feel like this is, you know, your guides are really giving me a strong symbology right now and saying that it's like, this is weighing your heart down, those things. Like when you tune in, when you think about hanging out with someone, your heart should like not feel like it's sinking, or wonder like, you know, if they're gonna be a bitch to you, or excuse my French, but not really, you know, wonder if they're gonna like, I don't know, just like be condescending and make you question what you're here for. Yeah. Okay. So moving on, we have the Ace of Cups too. What are you here to learn? Yeah. You're putting your own heart first. Okay. And it's like, this is how the intuition works as well. You know, the heart is related to the intuition and being in our body. And so there's something here about, I feel like moving forward with your purpose, you guys got to address whatever this is. And even if it's not like you're walking away, maybe you're just taking a break. Maybe you're just taking some space, because sometimes when we're too up close to a dynamic, even if it's work or something, we can't really see the full picture, and we can't really see like, oh wow, I've been putting up with some bullshit. Like when I quit my job, like, as a fitness instructor, and I miss teaching so much, but like, I couldn't be in an environment where I felt so like at different points disrespected for just being in my power, you know? And so, yeah, it wasn't until I officially did that, because like things were getting it was just so clear it was time for me to leave. It was when I finally left, I was like, oh my God, like, why did I put up with that low key, like narcissistic, you know, type of like environment, you know, where, I don't know, not to get too much into it, but it's that kind of thing. Sometimes space can reveal a lot more to us versus when we're fully in it, you know? And remembering this is a school, this is a university. So at the end of the day, you know, I know those people that have done wrong by me, you know, I've been on both sides of it. I've been the wrongdoer, and I've had people do me wrong, you know? And at the end of the day, we're all just playing the rules for each other that we came here to play, you know? And so move forward, you know, there's no reason to have any type of guilt around knowing that you need to go in a certain direction. This is softening to love, okay? And softening to what is right by you, like putting yourself first. All right. Because I feel like a lot of the time, yeah, there's just like a reclamation of the feminine here. All right. There's something here about masculine always wanting to fix something and thinking that, you know, we're not successful if we don't make that relationship work, or, you know, we don't make that job work. But the feminine is really all about, no, if it's, you know, if it feels right, it's right. And if it's not, I'm gonna flow on to something else, you know, into a new direction. So where can you gain support? Group number 3, where can you gain support? Mystery, 8th house. Interesting. 11th house, community. 7th house, relationship. It's interesting. We have all of these houses. This is so crazy. And there's 2 here already that are emphasizing your relationships. And lastly, we have communication, 3rd house. You have all the houses. This is crazy. So we have Scorpio with the 8th house. We have Aquarius with the 11th house. We have Libra with the 7th house. So more justice energy coming through. And we have Gemini with the 3rd house coming in. So this is really just like, I feel like being open about what you're going through, like not going through it, especially because we did see that 10 of Wands come up in the beginning. Like, don't think that you have to go through this alone. Yeah, I feel like this is just talking to people that you really trust. Okay. And maybe even talking to like a therapist, maybe even like, you know, talking to someone who's really in tune with spirituality and who can, you know, give you a type of perspective that helps you let go of this and, in a more seamless way, or to like see this or, you know, see whatever you need to see about it to do whatever you need to do about it. Let's get deeper. So where can pile 3 gain support? What can pile 3 gain support, please? Where can pile 3 gain support? Where can pile 3 gain support? Let's see what that was. Sun in reverse. That's interesting. 3 of Pentacles. Yeah, don't feel like you have to put on a show that you have it all together all the time. Yeah, we have more about just like expressing your fears to people, okay? You don't have to seem like you have it all together all the time. Like, you need to be able to have people, like, honestly, you guys, I'm the same way, or I was the same way. And it wasn't until I started just being more vulnerable. I don't know what it is, but like, maybe you guys get this, but there was something that I learned somehow. And I don't know if my parents ever said this, because honestly, a lot of my childhood is kind of like spotchy, but I never would share when like I was bullied. And I kind of was bullied, you know, a good amount, because I just looked so different than the girls. My hair was different, you know, and then I was this bright light at one point, moved to a new school, and these girls didn't like that I became best friends with this girl that everyone else liked super fast. And so they delivered like this terrible note to me, and I cried by myself. Like, some of the stuff that I went through on my own as a mother now, it breaks my heart to think that to imagine Maya, my daughter, ever having to go through this shit on her own. But I get it. Like, that's part of having this overly masculine energy. And we learned it. You know, there's a reason why you're in this protective mechanism where it's like, I can't trust the feminine. I can't feel, because if I feel like if I start to feel this, I'm going to come completely undone. And I've worked so hard to like make it seem like I've had all my shit together. And you have your shit together, group 3. Like, you are a bright light. You are so bright. You are here for such a big reason. I mean, you have such powerful codes. You are here to awaken the hearts of other people. You are here to open people's eyes to the divine. And I feel like you're just here to be a very powerful change maker. You're a force to be reckoned with. Like, that is, you know, that is for sure. And so don't feel like you need to be so mysterious and so like, you know, find someone where more and more you're just able to just express the emotions. That's the feminine. The masculine wants to fix. The feminine is just like being with what is, you know, and just like, this is what I feel. And then not making it mean anything about who you are. You know, but it seems like you might be in some situations that are devalidating your experience. And it's almost like it's reinforcing this idea that who you are as you are is not perfect, you know, and it's almost reinforcing this idea that you need to change who you are. You're not, you know, you're crazy, or like, yeah, it might be someone that just like doesn't believe in your gifts and doesn't believe in like the direction you're going, or it's like a situation that's inhibiting you from like exploring that even more, because it's like so taxing, or it's like a jealous boss that, you know, this could be so many different things, you guys. And I feel like it's pretty generic right now, because the way it's going to relate to everyone that's drawn to this is pretty unique and pretty different. But I feel like this is really finding your people, okay? And, you know, I've been in some situations before, like when I go to breath circles, like it doesn't matter who's there. It doesn't matter who I've ever seen before, if I've ever seen someone before. But when I'm in that type of container, I know it's my people, you know, and I know I can open up. And when I'm speaking from the heart, man, when you're speaking from the heart, group 3, it's so fucking powerful. Like, you could move like millions of people when you speak from your heart. Okay. And there's something here about voicing and speaking from your heart. Like, you can really, yeah, you're here for big things, you know? And I feel like there's just a situation that, you know, I maybe it's not as toxic as I think it is, but I just feel like, I don't want to say you're sleeping on your potential, but this thing is not like, you need to let something go. Something needs to get out of the way, because it's like you have so much more to blossom into. And I feel like it was perfect. Yeah, it's like climbing the ladder, you know. This is in reverse. In an upright, we're climbing the ladder, but this is like, you know, feeling like we're not going anywhere, and kind of keeping you in this state that you're, you know, ready to be out of. So really taking a good look at who needs to leave, and leaning in on people that you really, really, really trust, and maybe even going into like some spiritual groups, spiritual communities or whatever, to where you can get some pretty sound advice. Sometimes like Facebook even has stuff like that too, where like, I'm surprised at what people will share in like the Ram Dass groups or the Eckhart Tolle groups. And when I go through the comments, when people are like, hey, like 222 right now on the clock, on the time, hey, like I'm going through this, and they're like really divulging like information that sometimes I'm like, God, like, you couldn't torture that information out of me, but just that's the protection mechanisms in me too. I got a lot to, I really understand this, but the sound advice, the advice that comes through is pretty sound. And yeah, so you can trust. And looking in those areas, this also reminds me of the occult and like spirituality too. So I feel like that whole tangent I went on is a pretty good place to start, like around spiritual communities, or, people that really trust. You can trust them not to give like subjective advice, and you can trust them to give like, advice that's at the level. Maybe this is why you don't get advice from people, because you're just like so expanded, like you're just so, I feel like you're really good at giving advice to other people probably. And it's from the level of the soul, not the level of like the ego and just like, oh, dump his that kind of thing. It's like, oh, like, did you think you learned what you were meant to learn? Like, what was that there to teach you? There's definitely a difference. So going to those people, finding those people, they are out there. And it's been such a beautiful aspect of my own journey when I feel like I can also be a human, because for so long I felt like I needed to be like, I don't know, superhuman, because it meant that I was untouchable. People couldn't bully me anymore. If like I didn't have these aspects that seemed weak, or that seemed like whatever, I subconsciously believed that made people bully me when they did, or something, that kind of thing. So moving on, this is a positive step on your destiny, is like really diving into this. Okay. Really diving into the fears that this is kicking up. This is heavy duty. Okay. And so this is like not turning away. This is more of that 8th house mystery, the underworld. This is not turning away from those things that are just begging for your attention and begging to be like released. Maybe even seeing why, like investigating why we're staying in this situation, or, putting up with this dynamic. And lastly, we have the shaman. So this is reclamation of self. Okay. So this is really like soul retrieval, and the underworld kind of allows us to, it just kind of reminds me of like when you're going on a trip, when you're tripping, when you like go on like plant medicine, or, a really intense breath work experience where you're breathing for over an hour, and you're like taken into the depths of yourself, and you like kind of fight it. But when you're done with it, oh my God, I've even had this like microdosing before, you guys, where I took like, oh my God, it was the tiniest amount, and I like didn't take enough or something. And because of it, like I could still fight my ego, like my ego could still fight. And it was, oh my God, not to get too far into it, but sometimes like when you survive those things, those underworld experiences, you feel so fucking rebirthed. And it feels so good. This is, you feel so rebirthed. So this is like leaning into this process of soul retrieval. Sometimes the lifting of the veil feels really good. And sometimes it feels like I was explaining to you, I thought I was going to go into, I have a psychotic break during that one time that I like, and that's the last time I've eaten mushrooms. Like it's been a while since I've had psilocybin because of it. And I was probably like, not using it in the best, like, I don't know. I'm trying to like not paint a like terrible picture of myself for saying that I was like in a mood that day, and I was like, I just need to pull myself out of it. But that's not how we utilize the medicine. And because of it, I got what was coming for me, is what I should say. But this is like, I feel like this symbol for that story too, overall, is just that I was just fighting the experience, and I was trying to hold on for dear life to like my concepts of who I was. And the more that I like tried to play Ram Dass, and the more that I tried to like talk myself out of what I was experiencing versus just being with the experience and letting that death happen, the more I felt like I was about to have like a serious psychotic episode. I didn't even take that much, you guys. It's crazy, because you get what you need, right? Not what you ask for, not what you want. But on the other side, I was like, oh my goodness, like I was rebirthed. And I felt like I did call a part of myself back. And like, if I can survive that, I can survive anything. And I do feel that this, that story was kind of a way to like give you guys that energetic blueprint of kind of what you're going through. And, or like where this could lead if we continue to resist it, because it's like, so bear with me. I'm just going to keep using this analogy, because as I talk about it, the symbology is going to make more sense to me too. So I did a little bit of research, and I also talked to a soul brother who's in the UK, and he had a similar experience. I was like, this has never happened to me before. I've taken way more than this before, and it's been like soul retrieval, beautiful. It's been intense in some cases, but I didn't even take anywhere near for it to be that intense. And it was because I was able to resist that egoic process. Like if you take a certain amount, you can't resist it. And it's because I took just enough that my ego could still be there to come in and try to reinforce what was ready to be dead, that it like took me on a trip that I did not want to be on and I wanted to get off. Okay. And so I feel like that's the symbol here for let the egoic aspect of the self that's trying to like over conceptualize, over control. You've had the Nine of Swords come up so much in this. Let that go, because I feel like that is what is bringing such this type of like conflicting energy in your experience, is you're trying to hold on to this old version of yourself that is far gone, and the way that you could be holding on to that is through that job, is through that lover, is through that whatever, you know, the thing that I feel like maybe not intentionally is holding you back, but it's very clear that it's holding you back. And you know, we all go through it. This is part of it, where we all hold ourselves back at certain points. And there's other times where we're meant to see our tenacity. We're meant to see our strength. We're meant to see how far we've come by, you know, just being able to be the person to walk away, you know, even if it served us at one point. You know, that's like growing into shoes, but then the shoes get old and you keep growing and you need a new pair of shoes. And so we honor what has been in our lives up to that point in time, but we don't linger in it, because, you know, the better it gets, the better it gets. And it's wanting to get better, right? Your guides are like wanting you to move along, because there's, you know, you're just getting started. Like there's so much more in store for you. Okay. So I'm going to leave this here for now. I hope this brought clarity, confirmation, peace to your heart today. Group number 3. If this was your pile, let's go ahead and leave. What came up a lot? We have the sun come up a lot. We also have the scales come up. So sun, scales, whatever that you want to. And I do hope to see you on my channel again soon. Please give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, bye group 3. Hey you guys, thank you for sticking around to the end of this video. If you are interested in purchasing Ana Luisa jewelry, make sure to use the code MarissaGinty20 at checkout to get 20% off your purchase. All links for that are in my description box.